All right, welcome to our latest episode of Straight from the Gut. Today, my very special guest is Dr. Ren Hao Lai. We just call him Dr. Ren here, and you can do the same. Ren, so happy to have you here at Plexus.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stuart. I'm very excited to be here as well.
That's great. So, as we move into the space to be the number one gut health company in the world, you're a big piece of that. You're helping guide some of that journey for us. Tell us a little bit about what attracted you to Plexus in the first place.
I think Plexus is a very scientific driven company, and I think we have lots of good products, lots of good formulas, and then the most important thing is this is more like a people business. And I always feel like for science, without people, science is just a bunch of numbers.
Right.
So that's why I think Plexus is a great place to help gut health and then overall wellness.
That's great. Well, we looked at your obviously spent some time on your CV when I first got here, looking for the perfect person to help us get where we needed to go. Talk to me a little bit about your background and some of the companies that you've been with that you think have set you up to be here.
First of all, I have a PhD in biochemistry nutrition, and also I have a Chinese medicine degree. So the good thing is when I combine these two, it's like Eastern science and the Western science together.
Love it. Yeah.
It's more like holistic instead of trying to just focus on one thing. We talk about overall solutions. And then after graduation, I start to work in industry because lots of my colleagues, they start working in academia. But I feel like working in industry can start to help more people. Like I work in General Mills, Mead Johnson Nutrition, all those kind of Fortune 500 companies. So I learned a lot of how to do a right business, especially with the science in this industry. And then I start to work in say smaller company, but also very fast growth, like Beachbody.
Beachbody?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, a lot of people out there will have heard of Beachbody.
Yeah, Beachbody used to be a very good company. And then AG1, which is a big the DTC company for the green powder. Supergut, I actually helped develop the prebiotic fiber blend, and that's also patented with the patent.
Wow.
So yeah, it's great.
Now, is that your patent?
Yeah.
All right. That's cool.
I would say our patent, but I'm not the only one. But that's also a good experience. Then the very last one is a rice mushroom coffee.
They really took off, didn't they?
They really took off. They are the unicorn as well.
Oh, that's great. So when we talk about patents, I mean, you and I talked early on, that's something we want to try to establish here 100%. At Plexus, right?
Yeah.
To differentiate ourselves and set ourselves apart.
100%. Yeah.
When I think specifically about gut health and one of the things that we've tried to do here is to say, okay, let's be a lot more focused about what we do, because we can be it's hard to be the best at a bunch of things, but if you focus, you can be the best at something specifically. Talk to me a little bit about gut health, and you were a general nutritionist, biologist, but what about gut health intrigues you the most?
Yeah, it's very interesting because long time ago, when I started to study the traditional medicine, they talk about the gut health is the core of the health.
Right.
And when I started to study, nutritional sciences, I also found out without digestive health, it's almost nothing. So to me, it's a very good strategy and a very, very powerful to focus on gut health, because gut health is a broad spectrum.
Right.
It's from the people who has diarrhea all the way to the constipation.
Yeah.
People may have bloating. People may have may want to go through a detox. Lots of issues, conditions, or challenges that are associated with the gut health. And if we extend gut health a little bit, we talk about gut-brain axis.
Yes, the gut-brain axis is something I actually was going to ask you about. So.
It's totally a very emerging science. Lots of scientific evidence behind this.
Right. A lot of people believe the gut is almost like a second brain. Am I right?
Yeah. Some people even think it's a first brain.
Yeah, I've heard
which
that.
is
Actually.
interesting.
I've read
yeah,
that. Yeah,
I heard that. So listen to your gut, something like that.
yeah.
And
I feel it in my gut. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
that's true. And then so to me, it's focus, and but also provide us lots of opportunity to provide more personalized solutions.
Yeah.
Because I think it. So before we talk about more like say, hey, we have one formula, one product fits all, and then right now it's you can see the transition for the industry to more like say, hey, how am I gonna provide our customers with more personalized solutions?
Right.
So because especially gut health is so personalized.
It is because everybody's situation,
100%.
everybody's condition
Yeah.
is unique. Tell me a little bit about some of our products. I know, for example, the gut health system. Tell me a little bit about what you like about that, what you think maybe could be improved or not, and then maybe we'll talk after that about Armor, because that's one that a lot of people are talking about.
That's one very specific reason I like Plexus, especially with the field and ambassadors, because people start to do personalization by themselves.
Right.
So we have a gut health combo, although we recommend them, I say, hey, you can use these 3 products, like Slim Microbiome,
Yep.
and then you Probio 5.
Right.
But third one, actually, although I think we recommend a Restore, but people start to say, can I use Armor?
Yeah.
Some people say, can I use Slim Hunger
yeah.
Control or Balance, right?
yeah, yeah.
So based on what their body needs, they start to play with that. And I think that's the most interesting part to me, is that provide us the personalization guide,
Right.
but also like meet everybody's needs.
Okay.
So that's
yeah.
a bidirectional like communication between the field ambassador and then the Plexus, the company.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, you've had the opportunity, even since you've been here, of talking to some physicians about our products, and Dr. Shaw was on stage at
Yeah.
convention, and you've talked to a couple of other physicians. What are they saying about Plexus and our products?
I think they feel like our product has a lot of clinical evidence and have like lots of scientific evidence behind this. Especially, I think we did a clinical study for our reset. And also we have lots of like, so they think we care about claims. We
Right.
care about the real function behind our products, instead of I say, hey, this is a product, use it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So I think we when we do the formulation, we really care about each ingredient and then the dosage,
And how they work together.
how they
right?
work together.
Yeah, that's super important. I
Very
know.
important.
So we introduced, or we sort of put together Trim and Slim, or Slim and Trim, whatever you want to call it, early in the year, and then we named it the GLP-1 support system.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that system and how it does support GLP-1.
Yeah, so I'm very glad you asked this question, because I feel like the GLP-1 system we just launched back to convention has to me has 2 layers of the function.
Okay.
Layer number 1, for those people who is not very into injection or
Yeah,
GLP-1
a lot of people
medic-
don't like injectables.
Yeah, the studies still show the scientific evidence still show the ingredients we use in that kind of combo actually can stimulate GLP-1 secretion naturally.
Naturally. Now that would, if we're honest though, I mean that it would take a little bit longer
It would take
than if
longer.
you were using an
Yeah.
injectable, right?
In my mind, I call it micro-stimulation,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
is like just help people resume their normal physiological status.
Right.
That's why I like the product itself, because I feel like if someone is not on the GLP-1 medication, great.
Yeah.
With someone with the GLP-1 medication, that's even better, because for those population, they don't intake enough fiber,
Right.
and then their gut microbiome sometimes shift because they don't eat a lot.
Right.
So our like Slim Hunger Control, which is like a very good source of a prebiotic fiber, and also Probio, the 5 strengths of the probiotics are very helpful for their like GI health.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's kind of two layers of the function.
That's true, and
Yeah.
and I think there's the other thing from a marketing perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, but physicians will tell you shouldn't stay on like a trizepatide or an Ozempic for an extended period of time. As a matter of fact, you and I had a conversation with a physician who was saying he's worried that some of it's leading to depression and some other things. So one of the biggest problems when people come off of GLP-1 like that is that they immediately grow the weight back. Am I right? And wouldn't sort of, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but wouldn't weaning yourself off of your trizepatide or Ozempic with our GLP-1 support system help you sort of get yourself off of that without gaining the weight?
Yeah, because like what I mentioned earlier, that will help the body naturally secrete the GLP-1. Can kind of not say definitely not on the level of the GLP-1 medication for sure.
No.
It's 200, 400 times of natural one.
Right.
Which is a huge impact on the body
On the body, and can be negative as well.
Can
right?
be negative. Yeah, not everyone. So to me, that would be a very good way to winning.
Yeah.
Like what you mentioned, and then try to going back to your normal lifestyle.
Right.
To make the human body say more balanced.
Right, and even out
Even out there.
even it's like a plane landing slowly,
right,
as opposed to crashing.
So
Or hitting
you
the
arrived,
runway.
right?
Yeah.
You just want to make sure your landing is smoothly, just like.
Well,
what
and
I
one
said.
of the other things is, from my understanding, and part of it is personal. We don't want to talk about my personal stuff too much, but if you have gut issues, which I've had most of my adult life, taking an injectable like a trizepatide or Ozempic is actually problematic. It messes things up if you already have gut health issues. Is that true?
Yeah, for some people, yes, it kind of exaggerated the situation. I would say, especially the challenge is once you start to lose the appetite, because that's how GLP-1 works.
Right.
And then you start to lose the appetite, then their intake of, say, especially fiber,
Right.
protein. So all those good fats things, the people will start to say, oh, okay, my body I feel very differently.
Right.
I feel a little bit weak.
Yeah.
But I think they don't know why, because it's their mind, their brain was told stop eating.
Right. Right. And
So-
they don't understand it.
Yeah, so that kind of sometimes can make things even worse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's jump back to Armour, because Dr. Shaw said at convention, "I wish I had created this." Another physician we've been talking to said, I remember his words, "The world needs this."
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that product and how proud you are of it, and how do you think it fits into people's routine?
Yeah, so Armour is a very good product, and especially I personally love my most favorite ingredient in that one is A2 cholesterol.
Colostrum.
I'm a fan.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of cholesterol, but A2 cholesterol is a very few ingredient that you can find in the market.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because first of all, A2 milk is not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a very different the cow genetic cow say can generate that kind of milk, which is good protein for those who is sensitive to milk protein.
Okay.
Because A1 is sometimes cause a human body's allergy reaction.
Okay.
So A2 cholesterol is very, very precious. Is a very, very limited supply right now.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
we are using that because we care. So that's number one. Number two is overall is kind of a holistic solution to build a better gut barrier.
Okay.
Because we have to know skin. Well, we have very, very tough skin, so we can
Until you get old, but
Right,
yeah.
right.
yeah.
So you can protect the environmental challenge.
Yeah.
But for the gut, actually, it's a very soft liner, and that liner is easily to be disrupted with the toxin we intake, with the bad microbiomes, and a lot of environment challenge, say stress, alcohol, everything. So
You're making me stop drinking, aren't you?
trying moderate.
Moderation is great.
So moderation is yeah. So to me, that's a very important part because if the godliner is not there, if the armor cannot help, so if we don't use armor to help build the very first line, I think for most of people, they will start to feel like, oh my God, I feel like uncomfortable.
Okay.
Oh my God, I cannot eat, I cannot sleep well. Sometimes people cannot even think well because of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, the gut is such a central part. It's funny, I did some reading a long time ago from ancient readings. You know how we say now, like I feel it in my heart, or someone the whole love thing is tied to heart.
Yeah.
Ironically, ancient readings talk about the love thing being tied to your stomach.
100%.
So, like I've got her in my stomach. That didn't sound quite as good as I've got her in my heart. So I guess we moved it up a bit. But yeah, it's absolute. As you start to study this, you start to see how important it is. And from my perspective, leading this business, the really exciting thing is that Plexus is already here. So
Yes.
there are a lot of companies getting into this space. We're going, looking at the prospects of the gut health industry, which is apparently in 5 years supposed to be around $100 billion.
Yeah.
And we're already there. So we just have to put our foot on the gas a bit. So speaking of putting our foot on the gas, give us, without giving it all away, where do you see us in 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I think the very first thing is, I think like what you mentioned before, how do we take the authority?
Right.
Authority doesn't mean like say, hey, Dr. Ren, you go out and talk. Like we need more like scientific community,
Right.
Medical community, clinicals.
Yep.
I think we need more investment in this one. So to make sure like people, when they talk about Plexus, yeah, that's the number one gut health company like I can
Trusted
trust.
authority and innovation. That's one of the things I'm excited about you being here to help us innovate. And people go, well, they must know what they're doing. Right?
Yeah, that's the second part of the thing we really need to focus on is innovation. How do we build a reasonable roadmap, like anchored with our gut health system, but also expand to help people with the solutions.
Right.
We need to focus on gut health, but then provide the solutions around this.
Now you talked about earlier just personalization.
Yes.
So you're linking those two things together. Personalization is about solutions for individuals, right?
100%. Because personalization is so critical in modern society. Because people, they have more and more understanding about what they need.
So our ambassadors over the next couple of years, they shouldn't expect to just see products coming out. They should expect to see solutions coming out. Am I right?
100%.
Okay.
100%. Because I think that's the direction like we can go, and then to help us build our credibility.
Right.
Instead of I say, hey, this is a one solution for everything. That kind of era is kind of gone.
Yeah.
So we are kind of facing the new challenge every single time, and that will help us to provide our solution to mitigate everybody's challenge.
Interesting. I always talk in terms of and so our quest, our journey to become the number one gut health company and be a $2 billion company is not so that we can beat our chests and say, look how good we are. It truly is, and for the purposes of our ambassadors out there, it truly is twofold. Number one, to be that trusted authority that Dr. Ren is talking about and impact lives. And when I interviewed you, that was one of the things I really enjoyed hearing from you. You want to do this science thing so that you can impact lives. Am I right?
Totally. Because I think what we need to learn, or say what we want to share with people, is how these kind of solutions transform our life to the better one.
Right.
And another thing I didn't really mention is think about everybody's solution actually needs is kind of dynamic.
Right.
For some people, this quarter, they may need to have a gut health. Next quarter, they may need more immunity.
Right.
And next quarter, they may start to think about how I can manage my mental health.
Right. It's is this a stressful period? Is it a
100%,
also,
yeah.
you know, is it a do we eat differently in different seasons? We eat differently in the summer.
Yeah.
Some of us drink more in the
school,
summer. Some of us
school season as
school
well.
season. There's some stress there.
Yeah.
And the second part of the so that, from my perspective, is so that our ambassadors have a vehicle that they can trust,
Yes.
that they can then share with other people, so that they can, you know, have a community. They can make money from. They can
Yes.
create a business with a backbone and a foundation that they can trust. Is a trusted authority. So, you know, being the number one gut health company in the world, like I said, isn't an ego thing. It's an opportunity thing. And
Yes.
we're working, Dr. Ren and his team, and potentially new people we're bringing on the scene. Physicians, you're building a new lab.
Yes.
We're looking at a scientific advisory board. All of that is so that your opportunity is much greater, and you can trust us to lead the way. So, anything in conclusion you want to say to our ambassadors before we go? It's been great to spend a few moments with you.
Yeah, same here. I just want to say, trust us. We are doing our best, trying to me, this is a revolution, to be
Yes.
honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
To help the company to the next level.
Yeah,
So it's not easy, but we are doing all those good things and correct things to move the needles. So I think, and I just want to say thank you very much for the leadership, the trust, and all the investment. Because sometimes we just talk a lot, but we don't have any action. That's not gonna work. But here we have actions. I have tons of action items right now for the next couple of years. So
you do, and big thanks to Tarl, who
yes,
who has said, you know what, spend the money where it's needed to make it
100%.
happen. I agree with you. It's a revolution. I used to call it a movement, but apparently around gut health, movement's not the right word. So we'll just call it a revolution. How's
depends on what kind of movement.
that? Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for being with us. In the meantime, get out there, one Plexus.